a plausible change for all of us as a citizen. But our youth leader, rather than confining himself to the dictates, ethics, and role assigned to him by the constitution of a great party, he has been moving around with all manner of reckless behavior and conduct. And that is why everything we summarize as a gross misconduct and disobedient to our party constitution.
There you have the National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Abayomi Olufemi, announcing the suspension of the national youth leader of the party, Eragbe Aslem. And of course, you also saw Kennedy Chigozie, who is now acting as the national youth leader. Well, in our attempts to present issues on this platform in a fair manner, we bring to you the acclaimed suspended youth leader of the Labour Party, Eragbe Aslem. He's with us here in the studio. So, Eragbe Aslem, how would you react to your suspension by the Labour Party, your party?
Thank you. Comrade Eragbe Aslem, the national youth leader of Labour Party, and the Edo North senatorial candidate for the party in the 2023 general elections. I've listened to what the publicity, our own publicity secretary said. Basically, there are three provisions that guide the duties of the national youth leader of Labour Party, Article 14 of the party's constitution. Permit me to read for clarity so that the world will see exactly what is playing out in the Labour Party. For those who know me, I have spent every bit of my breath working for Labour Party and by extension, His Excellency Peter Obi. But of course, Peter Obi as a person has not deemed it fit, even as a presidential candidate, to even place a call to me for the first time. I want to set the record straight here. That is because the leadership of the party from the beginning did everything to isolate him from me. Now, when this crisis started, I really do not consider it as a crisis.
But why would the party do that?
Yeah. Now, quickly, let me read the constitutional provision, because I need to set the record straight. Article 14, powers and functions of officer. Number 14, the national youth leader, page 30 of the Labour Party constitution. The first function is, the national youth leader of Labour Party shall be responsible for mobilization of the youth for the attainment of party objectives. 2, the national youth leader shall initiate and implement strategic programs and policies that would endear the party to Nigeria youth. Strategic shall initiate, shall implement strategic programs and policies that would endear the Labour Party to Nigeria youth. Now, the third function is found in the functions of the organizing secretary. Now, that function is 9C. Now, the national organizing secretary shall liaise. The national organizing secretary shall liaise with the national women leader and the national youth leader for implementation of programs for attainment of party victory at all elections. Now, under this third function, the Constitution gave the national woman leader and the youth leader superior powers over the national organizing secretary, over where there are overlapping functions. So that is why he is the one to liaise. Now, mind you, I'll quickly run back to function 2, which says, the national youth leader of Labour Party shall initiate and implement strategic programs and policies. Now, there are many things not couched in the party's constitution. For instance, ICT. The word ICT is not mentioned in the Labour Party constitution. It then means the national youth leader can deploy ICT solution, just like I have done. Under my office, we have developed what is called the Labour Party National Mobilization Platform. This is a website that has 6 portals. It's a global platform. One of the portals that support groups issues acknowledgement and certificates. Another portal registers Nigerians with PVCs and issues them membership card with 6 unique IDs. The first ID is called a national ID. It tells us how many people there are that will vote for a presidential candidate. The second ID is called the state ID. It tells us the number of persons in the state to vote for a governorship candidate. The third ID is called a local government ID. Depending whether you're a senatorial candidate, a member House of Representatives, or the state assembly. This local government ID tells us in specific terms the number of eligible voters that will vote for the Labour Party candidates across, for the Senate, for the House of Rep. Now, the fourth ID is called a ward ID. The fifth ID is called a polling unit ID, knowing full well that the 2023 elections, one, will take place via the electronic platforms, both accreditation and transmission of results. So in our system, we have developed what is called a situation room. Now, and control room. As I'm talking with you, it is on record that I developed a policy document that secured 10 billion naira funding approval for the Labour Party under the National
all right,
Youth.
okay, you are telling us now that whatever you did, you were well-intended.
Oh, well-intended.
One, you made an allegation that the party tried to isolate you from your presidential flag bearer. And secondly, in doing all of these, were you not supposed to be liaising with the party? At least the party leadership should be aware of every step you're taking as a party member and as a candidate.
Oh, basically, the party is in consonance and in tandem with my activities. First and foremost, the burden to initiate is mine. Like I said, I wrote the algorithm that is being deployed in this solution. I did. I'm a registered engineer. I'm an ICT expert. So I wrote the algorithm. In our meeting of June or July 27th, I put before the National Working Committee, is on the platform, the strategy to deploying these solutions. I made a presentation even for the fundraising. Every member of the Labour Party National Working Committee has all of these details in their phones, in their WhatsApp platform. I made a physical presentation of these issues before the National Working Committee. Of course, the National Chairman set up a 3-man committee, including myself, the Deputy National Secretary, and the Publicity Secretary. Now, I needed to make all this, and I told them, of course, until this initiative becomes implementable, it will be difficult to explain. So we began the implementation because we needed to develop the process. So it is upon this development that I needed to now brief the House in totality. So all of, again...
So you had not briefed the House in totality?
Now I have done the briefing subsequently. Now this first point I made...
So why were you then suspended?
Oh, sure. Now, the man that is today being appointed illegally as the acting national youth leader, the Deputy National Secretary, had been the root cause of these issues as far as he's concerned. What is the reason? The Labour Party has a website. It's a page. What the National Youth Leader developed is a dynamic site that provides solutions. Now, of course, 3 of us are meant to be in the same committee. But like I said, until the solution is deployable, you cannot explain it. So now all of this were done. Subsequently, a committee was set up, a technical committee. I think about 9 of us are in that committee. And all of these presentations were made for adjustment. And if you go back to the website, I have made every recommendation for adjustment on that side. But to come home quickly, the issue here is this. All of these programs were developed for youth capacity building session. There were to be 7 of them. The first one was to take place in FCT, where we invite all the youth. The other 6 were to take place, 1 in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. Now, I have 10 annexures that I have submitted before the National Chairman, even having discussed seeking approvals.
All right.
That have not been approved till date.
All right.
So, but quickly, on the aspect of the funding, like I said, what is today causing rancor in Labour Party? I developed the solution. I developed the proposal. I secured the approval, upon which the National Chairman of Labour Party, Barrister Julius Aburi, inaugurated and formed a fundraising committee and subsequently generated an account to receive the funds. And I took him to that place where these agreements were reached.
Well, let's just thank you for coming on the program, at least to tell your own side of the story. And here's hoping that your party is able to resolve, you and your party are able to resolve the differences so that you can proceed with what is needful at this point in time.
But in resolution, quickly.
Thank you so much for coming on the program. Eragbe Aslem.
In resolution, quickly, yes. What the party did is illegal. I will just read. I'll just read. Any other national officer of the party may be removed by 2/3 majority of the vote cast by members at a convention or National Executive Council. So what happened was a situation where the committee sat on the 17th, put together a report, gave to the national chairman, and he approved suspension.
All right, thank you once again, Eragbe Aslem.
Thank you very much.
I don't know whether to say National Youth Leader of the Labour Party. The party says he's currently under suspension. He says he's not. We hope that they're able to resolve their differences quickly.